Welcome to this space. Welcome to this group where we are consciously creating the kind of life and motherhood experience that we want to have. And my name is Honor Janetsky. I am a coach and therapist for a very long time, helping my clients to achieve that kind of loving connection and to be that kind of steady, loving authority that they kind of see in other people and struggle to create for themselves on their own terms. And this is really the biggest key. Like, what kind of mom do you want to be? How do you want your family to go? What kind of ease do you want to have in your life? How does that look for you? How does that feel for you? We're going to be diving into those things this year and have got some awesome workshops planned for you guys. One coming up in a couple of weeks in January that I'll let you know about probably in a couple of days here. But today's session, in this live session, we're going to be talking about a foolproof method. And this is really the only way. And I've been helping people for a couple of decades now, helping my clients' moms to kind of transform their families from conflict or stress or tension to peace, from feeling like they do everything to kind of make their lives and their families what they are. And at the end of that, just feel really depleted, push past their limits and boundaries with a lot of consequences that are really unnecessary. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. So, first thing I'm going to do, I mean, you guys stay for this one. We're going to be on for about 20 minutes. Stay to the end because I'm going to explain to you what the foolproof method is. So, how to be in charge of and in control of creating your own peace in your family, connections, love, all these things. I'm kind of doing it on your terms. And then I'm going to give you one technique from that method so that you can start to make a new impact today and start to really see that you have more power than you realize. This is going to be a really inspiring um, uh, topic today, and I want you to fully participate. So, first thing I'm going to do is just describe the problem of kind of how most people, most moms, most people, most parents are living life day to day, holding all the responsibilities of home, responsibilities of work, squeezing yourself into these tiny spaces in between and just treading water, just surviving, just treading water. And that's where a lot of my clients come in and how they find me. They just know that they're going to go under. They just know that they are already drowning and they don't want to do another year like that. So they're ready to change the pattern now. Here's how it looks. I'll break it down into this organized structure for you. So I'm describing three coping strategies that I see quite often. These are ways that we cope with stress in our lives, with recurring problems day to day that come up for everybody in motherhood. And these are kind of the three buckets that most people fall into. So in let's say there's a trigger, there's a stimulus, there's an action that someone takes, something that your husband says to you, your partner says to you that sets you off, or something that a kid says to you, or they ignore you when you give them a direction. Like, there's a thing that happens first. Then what happens next comes from us, right? So this is where things can go really sideways, how we react to things, how we respond to things, if we do, when we do. And so three sort of typical kind of responses that we have. One, something happens and then we get annoyed or we get defensive, and knee jerk response, these are all automatic. So listen to them, and I'm going to ask you which one feels the most like you. So one, we react quickly, we are annoyed, we're irritated, and or we get defensive, arguing for, like, I didn't do that, that's not what that's not okay, just that kind of like knee jerk boom response. So comes from irritation, comes from an annoyance, comes from anger, sounds like defensiveness or arguing. Okay, that's one. Two, we initially feel guilty, we feel responsible, we try to fix the thing that's not working. So this is more of like a deeper emotional, sort of sometimes body-based response where, ooh, oh, I feel, oh no, that went wrong. That one said, oh no, did I do something wrong? Did I create that? Did I cause that? Somehow this is my fault. All roads lead back to me. I'm uber responsible for the homestead, the house, the family, the kids' feelings, the partner's happiness, my job performance, all these things. I'm responsible for these things. And so if something goes wrong or goes sideways, I must have messed up. This is the most common one for my clients. I see this one most more than any other. This one is for the, oftentimes the empath, the highly sensitive mother, the big feeler, the deep feeler. And if you have deep feeling kids, this is probably one that you go to a lot. Then we can get stuck in the guilt. We can get stuck in feeling um, overwhelmed. That's two. Okay. I'll recap these. And then three, we disengage and withdraw so as not to rock the boat anymore. Okay. This one is huge. So if you're conflict avoidant, if you're someone who is you don't want to rock the boat. You are in a marriage where you walk on eggshells a lot. You feel, or around one of your kids, you walk on eggshells a lot. You don't want to set them off. You don't want to deal with them blowing up. This will come up a lot. So if you are like, I'm out of here, you just kind of disengage or emotionally you withdraw into yourself. You might physically withdraw into a bedroom, close the door. You might leave the house. And sometimes walking away like really is a good thing to do because if things are getting heated and you don't want to fight, maybe that's all you've got available to you. But if you notice that you're doing that as kind of your top coping strategy because you don't know what else to do. And this is why we do all of the things we do that aren't that successful because we don't know something better to do. So this is not your fault. And I want to be really clear about this. If you're doing any of these things, which most people are doing, if you're reacting and getting defensive, that's one. If you're feeling guilty or responsible, taking it on yourself, oh my gosh, that's my fault. Let me fix it. So then that leads to overwhelm. Or three, you're just kind of, I'm out of here. I'm out. I'm disengaging. I'm withdrawing. I'm going into scrolling. I'm having a glass of wine. I'm eating my edibles. Like I'm doing these things to detach. So say which one do you kind of gravitate toward the most? One, two, or three? Because I really want to hear from you guys and learn about where you are at in your process. It helps me to know how to help you. So say where you are, one, two, or three. I want to just be super clear on this one. This is not your fault. That you didn't do anything. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not broken. I know some people might feel broken, and I totally understand that. And I know, and I've helped a lot of people who feel really broken, and I myself have felt really broken at times. I have felt hopeless. I have felt stuck. I have felt um, clueless as to how to shift a dynamic. I felt so frustrated that I just like dropped to my knees and sobbed. These are experiences we have when we want to grow, when we want things to change. There's frustration when we don't know how. Do you guys get that? We can come up against kind of an edge and feel like I'm going to go crazy here because I don't know how to fix it. This is where expert help is, it can make all the difference for you, where we seek experts because we don't know how to change it. When you feel that you've hit that limit, then you need to find somebody who knows how to solve the problem you have. But that's a topic for another day. So when you are doing these things that aren't that helpful, when you're blowing up in a fight because you're angry or you're disappearing and your kids are feeling worried and scared because they don't know what's going on or they feel responsible, then um, it's not your fault. It's not your fault if it's going badly, if it's going not the way you want it to go. It's just a skill gap. Okay. It's a gap in skills. It's not having an approach that works. It's not knowing what to do next. We all have our own temperaments. We have our own upbringing. We have our own history, which sometimes includes trauma and often includes wounding and things our parents didn't know how to do better. And we're not perfect either. So our kids are going to grow up with their wounding, but we can do better. We can do better than our parents did. We can do better than we're doing today. We can do better tomorrow. Okay, so that's really the message here. And so how do we do that? And that's what we're going to go into. Thank you, you guys. I'm just checking over. I can see your comments now. So yeah, is all three an option, Caitlin? Yeah, for sure. Katrina's a two. Caitlin, yes. Sometimes you can bounce like from one, you can bounce between all three. Usually we'll have a dominant kind of um, default mode. And that's because we familiarize emotional states. We familiarize them, they become part of our identity. And I am putting that in air quotes because we can change our identity. We can change our thoughts and our emotional set point, and that changes ultimately, that changes our identity and how we see ourselves and then how we show up every day with our kids. If you're like, high anxiety or conflict avoidant or something like that, that's like from your upbringing, and all of that we can change. We can change how you show up as a mom. We can change how your reactions are. We can change how you communicate with your family. All of those things are a part of a process that we use with our clients, and we can change all of that. And I see it every day. You can bounce from one to another, but just think of like, what's my go-to? Am I usually like annoyed first, or am I usually like freeze mode and just detach, numb out? Um, don't know how to kind of like handle big feelings. So usually we'll be one more than the others. Melissa says I'm a two and a three. Okay, so perfect. So you guys are kind of reading like where you are in this, right? Now, the emotional cost, let's just talk for 1 second about no, it's not your fault that these things aren't working. And also, um, there is an emotional cost over time. Just because it's not your fault doesn't mean I'm not saying it's no big deal, shake it off. That's not what I'm saying. It's a big deal. It's a big deal to feel like you are butting heads with your teenager. It's a really big deal. It hurts so much. I know it does. I have a 14-year-old and 11-year-old who are both in adolescence full on. And I know how bad it hurts when there is a breakdown in that connection, or when you don't know how to repair because you can't let go of your anger, or when you don't know how to get through to your kid. You can't find the warmth anymore. You can't find the connection. You can't find that soft place where you can feel close and you can feel that you understand each other. It's so hard. The emotional cost of staying there over time, just to talk about it for a minute, is your coping strategies, your ways that you kind of places you go emotionally to detach or to get angry and fight or kind of freeze people out. Those coping strategies get passed on to your kids, so they adopt them. They've already adopted them. They're adopting them now as they grow. You'll start to see it. If your kids are little, you'll start to see it. And when you see it, you're going to recognize it. Oh my God, that sounds just like me. Oh my God, that sounds just like my husband. You're going to hear it. And when you do, you're going to feel appropriately afraid. You should feel appropriately afraid. I don't use should much, but in this one, pay attention to that. If that happens and you hear your kids say something you don't like that you know has come from one of you, pay attention. If you don't like it, it's time to take action. It's time to take action. So I'm going to give you something today to help you practice this, but we pass these things on to our kids. What happens over time is you'll feel more and more powerless to change your circumstance, to heal your marriage, to shift the dynamic in your parenting or with one of your kids. So this is being really like outwardly focused on things. Like I can see my kid is struggling, my marriage is struggling. I feel horrible about it. And I feel worried for the future. And I feel less and less empowered to change it because I don't have the right strategy. Right. And so what that does is it drains your internal resources. Not only does it make relationships so much harder over time, more tense, less connected, um, more conflict, kids opening up to you less, trusting you less. You could sort of get shut out more and more as they become teenagers. All these things drain your internal resources. And you guys, your most precious resources are your internal energy stream, your inner vitality. That's like your most precious resource, your faith, your connection to your faith. If you have that, those are your most precious inner resources. And so you need an actual strategy for real change to happen, to change your relationships for the better, to have more ease, to know how to make your life easier, to know how to like properly delegate and have your family be a team to keep your life going, your house going, to keep things in order, to have that loving, close connection, and for you to feel like you're amazing at what you're doing and feel really great about yourself as a mom, healthy, vibrant, all these things. You need an approach that gives you that result. Okay. So the key here to this proven method, really the only way for you guys to create that kind of ease and loving connection is to create that change from the inside out. From the inside out. If you want to change your marriage, it's from the inside out. If you want to change your relationship with your 14-year-old, it's from the inside out. If you want to help your kiddo who is really struggling, let's say you have a 7-year-old who's neurodivergent, who's off the charts, there's no boundaries in parenting because you don't know how to do that with this kind of kiddo who's really tough to handle and manage. That change, that very change with that kiddo who's super tough will happen if you change yourself from the inside out, becoming the person that is able to handle those challenges with ease. That is the only way. We can't change another person from where we are. We can't give them something that they don't have. We cannot train skills, emotional regulation skills in our kids unless we have them, unless we understand them, unless we own our own emotional well-being. Do you guys get this? It's such a big mental shift. Most people are just thinking that their family is the way that they are because that's who their kids are, that's who their partner is. That's the marriage they chose at 30 years old, and now you're 40, and it's like, I can't change that. And it's just not true. None of that is true. We can change our family, our frequency, our emotional health, our mental health. We can change our marriage. We can change our job performance, our income. We can change any of those, but it has to start from the inside out. So I'm going to give you a quick example to just kind of knock this home. So let's say that you are like, it's 2025. Christmas was so hard. I'm so sick of letting anxiety control me. I'm so sick of letting my anxiety call the shots on how I feel around other people, on how I feel when I host. Like, I don't want to host, or how I'm worried about other people judging me, or whatever it is, whatever your anxiety does. Sometimes it limits people from having freedom and fun in their lives. It makes, let's say it's making you tense, and it's making other people tense around you, or it's straining your relationships with your kids. You're not like playful. You're not having fun. You feel so serious about everything. Let's say that you are making choices now from anxiety, from fear, instead of doing what you really want to be doing. All right. There's a huge cost to staying here, and we're not going to go deep into that, but you can hear it. You can imagine, like, if you were so limited by anxiety that you were not living your fullest life, that would be a huge problem. So to not solve that problem, there's a big cost to that, emotional cost, relationship cost. Talk to people all the time who like aren't doing their dream job because of anxiety, because they feel like, well, I have to organize my family, get my family problems sorted first, so then I would be able to work. And it's just wonky thinking. You have to solve what's going on inside of here first, then you can do all those things at the same time with so much ease. Okay, you really can have what you want. You can have what you want. You can have it all. It just might need to look a little different from how you think. All right, so I'm going to give you now a technique that comes from this methodology of change happening from the inside out. Healing change. Your joyful family comes from the inside out of you, not your husband, not your partner. You don't need to change them. They don't need to change in order for you to be okay. That's not how it works. You can wait for that till the cows come home, but you will just be waiting till the end of days, more and more pissed off and frustrated and angry and resentful. That leads to nothing good. So start with this technique. Make a shift today. Put this into practice. This is a technique to show you that you have the power to change your life from the inside out. Okay. Something you've heard before, but I'm going to explain why it's so powerful. You have so much power to change your circumstance in your life, so much more than you realize. Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Imagine this in the context of you parenting a kid in a frustrating moment. Imagine this in response to a partner coming home from work, coming to the house and saying, God, why is this so messy in here when you've just spent an hour cleaning? Imagine this. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. In that response lies your growth and your freedom. The power of the pause, as I like to call it. The power of the pause is that it awakens that consciousness in you that says, I have a choice in how I respond. My response belongs to me. My response is mine. Your feelings belong to you, and my feelings belong to me. How I choose to respond to you is mine. I have so much power in that. So much power in that. I never have to say anything, do anything, feel anything, believe anything, agree to anything, say yes to something that is not aligned for me. I choose who I'm going to be every single day, no matter what's going on out here, no matter his mood, her mood, no matter my deadlines of projects I have on my desk, no matter what new course or program or resource I'm creating today, and how much pressure there is in that. I still, no matter what, I get to choose, no matter what difficulty is going on in the world, what worries me, I get to choose if I'm going to worry about that, if I'm going to listen to it, if I'm going to connect with it. In that space in between the stimulus and the response, let's say I see a scary news headline, pause. Awaken that consciousness in you. I have a choice in how I respond. And here's why this is important. And here's why this is where your power lies. So if you are someone who has been having a knee-jerk reaction to a certain kind of stress for, let's say, 10 years. Let's say you've been married 10 years. When your husband does a thing, boom, flips a switch in you. God, I hate it when he does that thing. Right? It's so unconscious, you probably don't even notice it. What if the next time that happened, you remembered that you have a choice in how to respond? What this does for you, for us, is it gives you a chance to connect with your own energy, your own stability, and to draw from that. So instead of getting drawn into what someone else is feeling, what they're upset about, what their perspective is, whatever their negative space is they have going on, I draw from my own inner resources, from my own stability, from my own, it's okay. I'm okay. Everything's okay. That's an energy that is security, it is safety, it is stability. When I connect with my own energy here, my own stability, I can choose if I want to respond, how I want to respond, when I want to respond, with words, not with words, with the simple gesture. I get to choose. Now, we'll say this works best if you have already created your own stability in the day. So, for my clients, I know we train them in exactly how to do this in one of our programs in Embodied Calm. We train people in becoming experts in steady, stable calm in their bodies, and we teach people step by step how to do that. So, one of the results of that program, which is so successful for people, is that you know exactly how to own this kind of stability in your nervous system, brain, and in your body. And so when things are going on around you, you can resource quickly and reconnect to that stability. So drawing from that. And so in Awakened Motherhood as well, we do that just in the first part of the program though. And when people get that, there's options that open up. So when you get that, you have access to more. You have you are more resourced. You have more um, mm, a capacity. You have more brain capacity. You have more ability to kind of pull from more successful techniques, communications, and responses. And we also teach our clients all those things. So this will work best if you have a lot of inner resources, if you know what your approach is, if you know what your technique is. If you know nothing, if you are starting fresh from today, then this is still going to help you. So the power of the pause, the big takeaway here is that it will and literally you're just pausing, like someone says something and I just stay with myself. I come back to myself. For me personally, might close my eyes, take a breath, just kind of put my hand into here on my heart and just kind of just reset. When I reconnect and plug back into my own stability and remember I have a choice in how I respond, I can quickly make a decision. So I'm not embedded, I'm not ingrained in someone else's energy or in a dynamic that's old, that has a lot of pull, a lot of gravitational pull to arguments you keep having over and over again within your own head or within your marriage. Those have a big gravitational pull. You need to shift the weight. And step one of shifting the weight is just understanding that there is a pause. You have to find it. You have to look for it and find it. But there is a pause in between what someone says to me or does and my reaction, jumping into reacting, jumping into detaching, jumping into that old trauma response of freeze or feeling guilty and responsible. I can actually just go, hey, hang on a second. I can remember I have a choice in how I respond. All right. So, are you willing to test this? Say yes in the comments now if you're willing to test this. And when you do test it, are you willing to notice that you have more power than you probably walk around knowing every day? You have so much power to impact yourself, your level of emotional well being from the inside out. And that's what this exercise is all about today, testing it and seeing. And I know because you guys tell me all the time, people who've never worked with me before that are here in this audience that do these techniques and come back to me and say, oh my gosh, like I feel the impact of this immediately when I do it. And so when you do it, really just notice what's different in you. What's different out there? And I said before, and I'll say it again, like this strategy and many more are so effective. And if you're at a place where you feel like you'd like to take a step, and maybe you're not sure what that step is, but you'd like some help getting clear on what you really want because you know what you were doing in 2024 and the years before that weren't working for you, were not giving you that connection to your vitality and your joy and empowering you to live the life you want to live in motherhood, to have that kind of ease and joyful connection with your people, then get on my calendar. Let's connect. Let's have a chat. I will help you in a clarity session. It's completely free to help you identify what it is that you really want. And then I'll help you to give you some ideas on how to get there. Maybe it makes sense for you to come and work with me or with us or with the team, and maybe not. And either way, it's fine. I'll direct you to a resource that's a good fit for you. But get on my calendar, and Lainey can drop the link for you guys. This is a link where it'll direct you to my calendar, and you can choose a time that works for you. Just don't hesitate. I mean, here's the thing: we're at January 2nd. You have everything out in front of you. And what will happen if you do nothing is that you'll continue to create things in the exact same way that they were created up till now. If you want to change what happens beyond now, then you got to do something you haven't done before. And I'm more than happy to help you with a clarity session to have a chat and see where are you at? What do you want now? What does it look like? And if I can help you, I'll let you know what that looks like. But that session is completely free, and I've got a couple calendar slots open this week and then early next week as well. So, okay, drop your takeaways in the comment section now. I would love to see what you guys heard that stuck with you. What are you taking away? What do you want to do differently this year in 2025? What do you want to be different? What do you want to change? I would love to hear about that. Let's make this a two-way conversation so that I can bring you guys content that really helps you to become the whole person, mother, partner, leader in your family that you want to be. So much love to you guys. Big, big happy new year. And see you next time. Bye, guys.